Salute everyone. Thank you for tuning into the New York Mets Lounge, where we talk about our beloved New York Mets. I'm gonna try to fix some things here. Y'all bear with me. So this channel is new. So I'm going through some I'm working on some things. Let me just put it that way. So I'm trying to work my way through a few things. I'll get it right sooner or later. But it's kind of like what you go through when you set up a new channel. You have your ups and downs, so to speak. So bear with me for a moment as I work on that. It still don't have. I'm just gonna use this camera, man. I'll just use this camera. I'm trying to work my way through it. JJ is in the building. Salute. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year. Yeah, man. Salute to everyone watching us on X. Salute to everyone watching us on YouTube. Yeah, that's where I'd like to get started. So I'd like to get started on, this thing is perplexing me though. Let me see. Let me see here. You know, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna rock. I'm just gonna rock like this. Right? Okay. So we missed out on the Japanese pitcher. Right? We missed out on the Japanese pitcher. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't confident that Stearns in the Mets front office was actually going to get him, to be honest. To be honest with you, that's just my opinion of it. I'm not saying that I found empirical data to support such a thing, right? I didn't see a hidden article or anything like that. I'm just going to say I just wasn't confident in Stearns pulling that off. It's what it is, right? My belief is that JJ read my mind again. And chat, the longer you'll be here, the more you get to know me. To the new audience that may not know us from the Knicks channel, if you're here just for Mets, and so if you're new to this and new to me, trying to figure out how I am, you'll know for the most part, I think and move like a fan. I'm not a journalist. I'm not an insider. I'm just a fan rooting for these teams that I love. David Smith is in the building. Salute. Another one of my guys. And so they'll tell you, or you'll see through comments, that I'm a fan first. And so I think like a fan. I don't claim to have any connections or anything like that. I'm just a guy coming through, rocking the spot like one of your homeboys. And I hope y'all enjoy this journey that we're on. Right now, I'm not gonna lie to you, the channel is growing ahead of schedule. Like we have like 2 videos with like 1,000 views. So what that tells me is that Mets fans are passionate, and there is a Met fan base out there that wants content, that needs content, and we're going to try and provide quality content, right? Again, JJ is stealing my thunder. Maybe I'm leaving my thunder out there to be stolen, right? Maybe I'm leaving my thunder out there unguarded. That's why it's being stolen. But what JJ says is how I feel. I think we're going to have to rely on prospects to fill some of our holes in the rotation and lineup. That's basically how I feel. But I do want to have the conversation, though. I do want to have the national conversation, right? So I want to have the conversation about, are the Mets buyers in free agency as opposed to sellers in free agent. I mean, what do you call it? What's the word? Not not buyers or sellers. Are they going to be buyers, and at what level of buyer are they going to operate? And David Smith says, the Mets have dumped lots of salary, lots of payroll lately by losing Pete, Edwin Diaz, and trading Nimmo and McNeil. Yes. Right? Yes. What I would also say is that I don't know if the Mets need to be I don't know if the Mets need to be wholesale shoppers. And how I get to that conclusion is this, everybody. How I get to that conclusion is this. Do I roll the dice on a Chris Bassett, or do I give David Peterson another shot? Right? Is that something that the Mets should consider doing? Should the Mets go after Lucas Giolito or revisit the Clay Holmes thing again? Right? And so while on the surface it seems like, nah, man, you got to go with the obvious, right? You got to go with the obvious. Go get an ace, because a team can't ever have too many aces for a championship contender. And man, listen, I'm not sure. In my mind, I am desperate and not desperate at the same time. Because I'm in the mindset that the Mets have a lot of pitching talent. The Mets have a lot of pitching talent, right? I think where the Mets fall off was last year was in places like Ryan Stanek. Right? Places where you put up a few runs and you would just expect your bullpen to hold the lead. And David Smith is absolutely correct. You need your ace, especially. You need your ace, especially. Right? You need an ace, especially, to win crucial playoff games. Any game one, you need your ace. In any closing game, you need your ace. You need an ace, right? Any elimination game in any direction, whether we can eliminate a team or a team is threatening to eliminate us, you need an ace, right? You need a guy that's going to stop losing streaks. You need a guy that's going to be the game one starter against any playoff teams during the season, right? For instance, say you play Miami, Washington, and Pittsburgh back to back, but then you have the Dodgers after that. You want your ace to be in, regardless who he pitches against up to that point. You want your ace to be ready for the Dodgers. You need an ace to put your best foot forward, basically. Now that the Japanese guy is because in my mind, I'm not gonna lie to you, Chris Bassett, Lucas Giolito, Nick Martinez, those guys are fourth starter caliber guys. You know what? How about we do this? So for everybody watching, I do this on the Knicks channel a lot, and I'm not saying it's what I should do all the time, but it's how I kind of collect my thoughts by doing this. So I'm gonna put a sheet on the screen, right? I'm gonna put a sheet on the screen to basically fill in starting pitching, right? I'm gonna minimize this a little bit. So let me do this. Y'all bear with me for just a second, right? Let me do this. I probably should have had this in place already. I didn't think about it until JJ said something. I appreciate JJ for that. Right. Let me put this up here on the screen. All right, let's do name, location, or status. Name, status, position, and let's say cost. Let's do this. Let's make this bold. And let's turn this gray so I don't blind all my people at home. Let's turn this blue because we are Mets fans, right? Let's turn that font white. Let's turn this orange because we are Mets fans. And let's just do a 1 through a 1 through 15, right? Let's just do a 1 through 15. All right, and do this. And we'll move this here. Oops, we'll move this here. And we'll move this here. And I'm gonna let you guys fill this in. And then that way, what we can do is in the conversation, we'll have like a status. And I know, and so for the chat, for everybody watching us on YouTube, I know this is an unfamiliar thing. I know you don't see this on Locked On Mets and all the other Mets content creators, right? I'm new to this, and so I'm just gonna do this in a different way. This will be more interactive with you guys. So I'm going to ask you, right? Yeah, JJ, I'm with you. I'm with you on this, right? So in a perfect world, I'm going to ask you guys. So chat, in a perfect world, right now, who would be the ace of this staff? Like, who, without any acquisition, who is the ace? Who's the game one, the season, the starter in the season opener? So who's the starter, season opener, season opening starter? That's a tough decision, right? That's tough, right? Tell you who I want to be. I'm gonna put this. I'll put this over here on this side. I'm just gonna type it in. Dream scenario for me, right? Dream scenario for me. Who is that guy in the dream scenario, right? Y'all already know who I want it to be in the dream scenario, right? It's Tarek Skubal. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Y'all already know what it is, and I think that's y'all's got to. In the dream scenario, is Tarek Skubal for me. But what about you guys? What about you guys? Like is Tarek Skubal the guy? Because if Tarek Skubal is the guy, now we have to discuss. Now we have to think about what are we going to trade? What are we gonna exchange in a trade? What are we going to exchange in a trade for Tarek Skubal? Right. Let me ask y'all this though, and before we get in depth with the trade scenario, where do you rank Noah McLean in this scenario, 1 through whatever? Where is Noah McLean ranked? Is Noah McLean ranked 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And I promise you the conversation's going somewhere. Basically, it's going somewhere. I wanna see what you guys think first though. JJ says right now Noah McLean is our ace. Nolan McLean, I'm sorry. Right. Right. Hey, and David Smith, I'm with you, right? Um ooh, this is frustrating. This is and I like David Peterson. What I'll do is this. I'll add my opinion and y'all tell me if you agree or not. This is how I feel about the Mets pitching situation. Right? Nolan McLean. His status is so I think he's future ace. I'll put it that way. Of course, he's a starter. And right now, he's cheap. Right? Brandon Sproat, Jonah Tong. I honestly like Brandon Sproat right now a little bit better than Jonah Tong. and I'm not trying to start an argument. It's whoever you prefer is whoever you prefer. That's how I have it. Is that how you guys have it right now? So here's again, y'all guys are so okay. So you read my mind, right? So here's my thing about Kodai Senga. I would love for Kodai Senga to be in this one spot for right now, but to me, he's a top of the rotation guy. I can't call him an ace, but we have 1 year left on so let me see. I'll bring up I'll find his contract. So right now he's on a cheap $15 million. That's cheap, y'all. I'm not going. That's pretty cheap for a starting pitcher. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's pretty cheap for a starting pitcher. I mean, we just signed a first baseman that can't play defense for $20 million. I forget whether Peterson is a with an E or an O, but all right. All right. So this is where things get dicey for us, right? Yeah, Davis. Yeah, I agree. I think the leg injuries to Senga are an issue. I don't know if it's. I hope it's not a long-term thing. I hope it's just a thing where yeah. So what other starters do the Mets have? So what other starters can we pencil in for the Mets that you think will make it to opening day? How much longer do we have Manaea for? So the Clay Holmes thing is, and listen, I don't want to get into a fist fight with y'all over Clay Holmes, right? I think he's a back end of the rotation pitcher. He's a starter with reliever upside. Sean Manaea is probably a middle of the rotation guy. He's definitely a starter. He'll run out of gas though. Right. Let me go back here to this. I have a bunch of screens up, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like that idea. I just don't know about, because we stretched Clay Holmes out in order to get him to a place where he can give you 5 innings. But how will that work if Manaea starts and you bring Clay Holmes in a reliever role, even though you want starting pitching results? And how does that help when how is that going to help when Kodai Senga needs his 6th day of rest? Right, that's one of the things that right, I agree. Hey, listen. I'm absolutely with you 100%. 100%. Jada Chosen One is in the building. Salute. So the Mets, in theory, have starting pitching. I don't think Jonathan and Brandon. I don't think we'll see Jonathan and Brandon Stroke though. I don't think we'll see them. I don't think we'll see them early. The Mets signed a pitcher in Tyler McGill and Tommy John. I forgot about Tyler McGill and Tommy John. And I forgot about, what's my guy? Christian Scott. So I forgot about Christian Scott also. I forgot about Christian Scott and Tyler McGill. Long term, I think we have a guy that has ace upside. Right. Long term, I think Christian Scott, if Christian Scott can put it together, I like Christian Scott. I don't know if he's an ace, to be honest. I think Christian Scott has ace characteristics. I don't think he has. We'll see. We'll see if he's a bulldog or not. Right. We'll see. We'll see if he has that bulldog in him to be an ace. I think the stuff is there. But I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So Christian Scott, I think, man. I think it puts us in a weird spot because he. Yep, agreed. Jay the chosen one. I'm with you, right? Here's the thing. Do you gamble in a Tarek Skubal trade, right? Knowing that you may have reinforcements on the way at next year, that you can replenish your JJ. I think that's the gamble. I think you go after Tarek Skubal, and you may have to give up Sproat and Tong, right? And maybe Jet Williams, right? And maybe the young center fielder. You'll probably give up Carson Benj, Jet Williams, Ronnie Mauricio and Acuna, and 2 young pitching prospects. And that doesn't guarantee that you'll sign him long term. That just guarantees he'll be here. JJ says they're not going to want all our time. No, but that's not all of our top prospects, though. Hey, trust me, the Mets have a very deep and promising farm system. A very deep and promising farm system, right? The only thing, though, is you have to pay to play, right? One of the prospects, and just really quick, I'll take this down and have the conversation with y'all. Like, legitimately, one of the prospects I never wanted the Mets to trade, but Francisco Lindor asked for a guy, and we gave him his guy, right? One of the prospects I never wanted the Mets to trade was a guy named PCA. I saw the Mets draft him on draft day, right? He was a heartstring of mine, right? A guy that can legitimately dominate a game defensively in Citi Field, right? That was the thing. You draft a PCA because you know in Citi Field he will catch everything in the outfield, right? Right? But the Mets wanted a guy to play with Francisco Lindor in a COVID season where the roster was trash. So you trade a PCA for a guy that's now an average guy, and now PCA is 3 times better than the guy that you traded him for. Right? So with that, my mindset is, do you trade Jet Williams or Carson Benj knowing that one day you may have to see them in an All-Star game? Right. Right. And so my question, in fairness and sincerity to you guys, is do you trade a young position player for a pitcher that you can't guarantee is going to be here in this time in 2020, this time next year? Though I love the thought of having Tarek Skubal, I don't want to trade Carson Benj, Jet Williams. I would rather, and I know this is going to sound ridiculously ridiculous, I would rather package the young players that are everyday players now for Tarek Skubal. I would rather trade young, game-ready players, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos, Ronald Angel Acuna, and Ronnie Mauricio, than trade Carson Bench and Jet Williams. And when I say that, I'm not saying that as if I'd like to trade those guys. I don't. But my preference is trade those guys. They're ready to play right now. Right? They're ready to play right now. But you don't know what you have in Carson Bench. Legitimately, the Mets have been looking for a Carlos Beltran replacement since Carlos Beltran left. Since we traded him for Zach Wheeler. And now that you have a guy, finally, because it's only been, 14 years? It's been 14 years since the Beltran trade. So even though it's been 14 years, listen, try the young guy out in center field and see, give him a couple of years before you want to ship him out. Because listen, I know the Carlos Beltran trade hurt at the time. And we got a young, injury-prone fireballer in Zach Wheeler, right? A promising young pitcher in exchange. I think the trade worked out not only for the Giants at the time they got the bat they needed, it worked out for the Mets, who stacked the deck with Matt Harvey, Steven Matz, Noah Syndergaard, Zach Wheeler, and one other guy. Was it Seth Lugo? Seth Lugo was the other young guy, right? Seth Lugo was the other young pitcher, right? Because we had 5 of them, right? So it was Harvey, DeGrom, Wheeler, Syndergaard, Matz, and Seth Lugo, I think. So it was 6 of them. So it was 6 guys, right? Like it was. For some reason, I want to put Seth Lugo in that group with Matt Harvey. Yeah. Peterson was a little bit younger than. I think Peterson was maybe 2 or 3 years younger than them. I think now I may be wrong, but Peterson was on the way also, right? And the what's Michael Conforto year? So it was Conforto. I think Conforto, Peterson. I think it was Conforto, Peterson, and another young player. I can't remember the name of it was a young reliever. What was the young reliever? The reliever before Diaz. So it was Lugo, Peterson, Conforto, and I see his face, like a big Spanish guy. It was a big Spanish guy reliever. I can't remember his name, but he was the reliever before we traded for Edwin Diaz. Oh, I cannot remember his name, even though I see his face. Spanish guy, big guy. Dang it, y'all. But anyway, the point that I'm getting at, Jairus Familia, my man. Boy, hey, you know your stuff, dog. Jay the Chosen One knows, hey, you know your stuff, dog. You know your Jairus Familia, that's his name. Yeah, man. You know your stuff. I could not remember my guy's name, and I love that dude. even though he was up and down at times, even though he was up and down, yo, you got to give Jay the Chosen One, man, credit for, yeah, man, Jairus Familia, that's his name, because he came up, yeah, John Neese. Remember, John Neese was the veteran. Remember, John Neese was the and what was the other guy? The blonde hair guy with John Neese. Oh my gosh. The guy, he was on the 2023 roster with John Neese. Oh, I forgot the guy's name. John Maine and it's one other guy. Golly, I have to look it up now. John Maine, because it's John Maine. John Maine. And what's the other guy? Oh, John Neese. And then Lion, Sean, Jeremy Hefner, no. Troy, Matt Harvey. Dylan G. That's the guy. Dylan G is the name that I was trying to remember. Dylan G. So we had some, not being disrespectful, but we had some guys. Dylan G was a guy with John Maine. I was trying to remember. So it's John Maine, Dylan G, and yeah. Man, those names are blast from the past, man. Those names are blast from the past. Yeah, Bobby Parnell. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So, I guess the thing, I guess the question that I'm asking you guys about, and it makes sense in my mind. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys. Is this: if the Mets are going to be in a not win now season, let me put it that way. If this is not a championship run season, why not just pitch to young guys? Chat. If this is a non-win now season, if this is a soft rebuild, I guess, then why not just pitch to young guys? Why not play the young guys? Right? Because the thing is, I don't think Marcus Semien is here to stay. I think Marcus Semien is a manageable contract. David Smith be asking some questions, boy. David Smith be asking some questions, man. I'll say this. If we were in an average sports market with average and reasonable sports expectations, I would entertain the idea. But y'all see this hat I got on? It's calamity. The Mets are a franchise, and I know this is going to sound weird, but the Mets are a franchise that averages making the playoffs once a decade. Right? The Mets are a franchise that legitimately makes a World Series run once a decade. Right? So in a world where it's difficult to build a championship contender with the Mets, do you roll the dice knowing that if you trade Lindor, you may make Juan Soto disgruntled and then may have to trade Juan Soto also? Because if you take Juan Soto's bat, if you take Lindor's bat out of the lineup, who do you replace Lindor's bat with? And also remember, there's a culture thing in New York. It's not just about baseball. Joe in the building. Salute. Hey, thank you for joining, Joe. Appreciate you. And this right here, Joe, I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw your comment, it concerned me. I'm like, oh, God. Why did he have to remind us? Why did he have to remind us, right? But, long-suffering Mets fans, it is what it is, right? Like, oh. And so the thing with a Francisco Lindor trade, right? The thing with the Francisco Lindor trade, for one, what's his true value? Right? Like what's Francisco Lindor's true value? You're gonna get very good defense at shortstop. You're gonna get an above board leader and almost captain type player on your team. You're gonna get an MVP caliber guy for the most part every day at shortstop at a position where shortstop is hard to fill. Shortstop is a position where if you don't have an elite third baseman, an elite second baseman, an elite shortstop makes you not need their defense as much. Right? Like I think legitimately, I believe Lindor doesn't win Gold Gloves because he didn't have a good double play partner with him. And I'm not knocking Jeff McNeil's defense because he was solid. He molded himself into a good defender, right? In terms of when he gets to the ball. I think Jeff McNeil's range was an issue. Like, I think Jeff McNeil is about as sure-handed as you can get, right? He's about as sure-handed as you can get for an everyday second baseman, right? Or not everyday second. We know Jeff McNeil played everywhere, right? Right. Yeah, Lindor is a Gold Glove winner, for sure, right? But when you have Vientos and others at third and a rotation at second base, it's hard being a Gold Glove winner. And right. So would I entertain the thought of trading Francisco Lindor? No. If a team blew me away with an offer, absolutely he can go. If Detroit said, hey, listen, for Tarek Skubal, we'll take Lindor and Jet Williams. Done. Right? Done. Like legitimately, if Detroit says for Tarek Skubal, we'll take Lindor and Jet Williams, done. Right? I'd say done. Right? But here's the thing. Here's the caveat for me saying that for Tarek Skubal. the Mets are loaded with shortstop prospects. Like, legitimately, if they traded Lindor game 2, they wouldn't have to search for a shortstop. You'd have multiple options at shortstop. Right? Immediately, you could have Acuna, Mauricio, and a bunch of guys on the farm that could play shortstop until you figure it out. That's the only scenario. Like, if we had to search for a shortstop afterwards, right? Like for instance, if they asked for Carson Bench in the trade, I absolutely not. No, I'm not doing it because it took us too long to find Carson Bench. Right? We thought Alex Ramirez was gonna be the reason why we traded Pete Crow Armstrong is because we thought Alex Ramirez was gonna be the next Carlos Beltran if he could hit. And come to find out, Alex Ramirez had all the other tools: speed, defense, arm, glove, everything except bat to ball. He could not hit. Right? Alex Ramirez, you have PCA, and you're thinking, okay, we can give up one of them because the other guy is going to develop into something. And we gambled with PCA because PCA and Alex Ramirez were both in the same spot in theory. In theory, they're in the same place, right? Go get it in the center field, can run, they stay healthy. The only difference between PCA and Ramirez is that Ramirez looked the archetype. Like Ramirez he looked like Beltran. Like Alex Ramirez was like 6'3", smile, beautiful smile, all this stuff. He just couldn't hit. And now PCA is gone and Alex Ramirez is gone. Alex Ramirez is no longer a prospect because he can't hit. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, him too. But in order to get Lindor, bro, I mean, in order to get Lindor, you're not going to give up. The Indians didn't want Dom Smith, for one. Like, what do you need with a left-handed first baseman that doesn't hit for power that gave you defensive upside at first base? You can find them at the dollar store. You can go to the grocery store right now and find you a 6'2" left-handed, sweet swinging bat at first base that doesn't hit for power. You can find them anywhere. I think and for this, I'm not gonna lie. And shout out to everyone watching us on YouTube, everyone watching us on X. If you're new to this channel, I'm just gonna ask you to subscribe to the channel, help us grow the channel. If you're watching this on replay, salute to y'all. Replay gang in the building. Salute to y'all. Subscribe, hit the like button, comment, share, all those cool things. We're trying to be like a casual hangout spot for Mets fans to talk that talk. Like, legitimately, I like dirt and grass. I like dip. I like wood. I like pine tar. I like bat spray. I like batting gloves. Like, in my bat bag in there, I probably have like 7. Like, I used to play softball. I hadn't played softball in a minute since I tore my knee up, right? But in my bat bag, I probably got like 7 pair of crumpled up batting gloves. I love it. I love it, man. I love baseball, man. Love. As you get older, you kind of tend to play softball more, but I love baseball, man. I love it. Right? My favorite Met of all time and I know this is going to sound crazy and weird, but my favorite Met of all time is Cleon Jones. My favorite Met of all time is Cleon Jones, right? And listen, I was little back then. Him and Tommy Agee, right? Tommy Agee from the White Sox, right? Man, love them guys, man. Love them guys, man. Love Tommy Agee. I love Hubie Brooks. I loved Joel Youngblood. Y'all remember Joel Youngblood? Man, loved Lee Mazzilli. Lee Mazzilli should have been the face of. I don't know why we traded Lee Mazzilli, right? I don't know. Lee Mazzilli from this Michael Conforto and Lee Mazzilli were kind of like on that same path. Like, yeah, 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 man. I love the Mets, man. I love John Stearns. I love Paul LaDuca. I love Ray Ordonez. I love Jose Reyes. I loved Ruben. Y'all remember Ruben Tejada? Loved Ruben Tejada. Right? Love. Anybody remember Kaz Matsui? Black jerseys, Kaz Matsui. Man, loved Kaz Matsui, man. The black uniforms, man. Had Jose Reyes playing second base when he came up. Man, Ruben Tejada, that was my guy, bro. That was my guy. So, but so let me ask this. Because I have the sheet started. I'm gonna save this sheet, right? This sheet that we started with the pitching on it. I'm gonna save that, man, for future conversations and things of that sort. But my question to y'all is this. Yeah, I remember that because Jose Reyes couldn't play second and Kaz couldn't play. It was a disaster at short. And Jose Reyes had the much stronger arm. Yep, I remember that too. I'm still looking for Chase Utley to this day. I'm looking for Chase Utley to this day. Christopher Foster, salute. Salute. Eugenio Suarez to 4 years, 130 per his inside source. I hope so. I hope so because we need home runs, man. We need Chris. We need some bats, bro. Yeah. Yeah, hey man. I hope so. For that money though, I don't 100 if they do that and didn't re-sign Pete, I swear I'd jump out the window. Right? If they give Suarez that money and then didn't offer it to Pete. Yeah. Yeah, I have ESPN pulled up, man. I didn't see anything on ESPN, so I have the ESPN page. I'm not a big fan of ESPN. I'm not a huge fan of ESPN, but I kept it. But I keep the thing pulled up, man, just in case. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything. It was funny. It was funny though to me. Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious. And you know what? No, this is not. This is a troll, and no, I'm not calling Christopher Foster a troll. I'm saying it's a troll like joke because of what we see on the internet. Like legitimately, if you're on X watching for Mets news, this is what it's like. This is what it's like all day, right? I appreciate that. That's what. Hey, Christopher Foster. Yeah, hey, that was hilarious to me, bro. That's hilarious to me because I understand the feeling. Like I legitimately understand the feeling of like watching X all day and then random guys you never heard of are like their source said such and such and such. Right? No, so I get it. That's hilarious to me. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I don't know. Also, I think one of the things that so this guy, um, and I know y'all know who it is, but I can't ever catch him. But it's a guy named Andrew Claudio. I know he's with Knicks Film School, right? But I know he's a Mets fan, and he mentioned something to me, or something in general, not to me directly, but he mentioned something in general that the issue the issue is the issue with the Mets is not the bats themselves, not the batting average, and not the runners in scoring position thing as much, right? Blade Solar was good. Salute, salute, y'all. The thing Andrew Claudio said, and whenever I catch him, I'm gonna give him his kudos for it. The thing he mentioned is that the pitching in moments absolutely sucked, and not sucked on hey, such and such blew a lead here, but we'll be all right. Nah, this is like historic collapse type stuff, right? The scoring with runners and the hitting with runners in scoring position thing was an issue early in the season. It was a huge issue because it wasn't as if we couldn't get runners on base. It's just when they were on base, we couldn't do anything. It was like a mind block. It was like a funk that we were in, and slowly but surely, over the course of time, things balanced themselves out. Right, the ebb and flow. Right, but the bullpen was an abstract disaster, and this is not just um, Carlos Mendoza, right? This was Buck Showalter too, because the immediate thing is okay. So the bullpen's a disaster. Mendoza is terrible at managing a bullpen. No, it's not just that. I think he's terrible at managing the bullpen, but I don't think that's the only thing. I think he is. Man, when you have a 5-2 lead going into the seventh inning, you shouldn't be losing games 7-6. You have a 5-2 lead going into the seventh. You shouldn't be losing games 7-6. Right? And it's not like the front office didn't know that the bullpen sucked. They gave away quality talent to shore up the bullpen, and here we are. Right? Over the years, it hadn't been the bats were not strong enough. Right? That wasn't the thing over the years. Is man, from your starting pitcher to Edwin Diaz has for the past few years has been an adventure. And hell, one could say before this year, Edwin Diaz was. Yep, I agree. I agree. I agree. I think this is absolutely. I think this is absolutely spot on too. And so I'll give an example. The Marlins game at the beginning of the season. The Marlins game at the beginning of the season. This past season, Kodai Senga went out and he dealt for like 6 1/3, 6 2/3. I think we were I think we were winning like 3-1 or something like that. And then you have to win the game like 9-7. We're fortunate that we could score 9 runs, right? But I think there has to be a definite um there has to be a thing. Now the David Peterson Clay Holmes thing, 4 1/3, 4 2/3. You do your 5 innings and you did your job thing. That's taxing on a bullpen. But some of these guys were fresh. The Washington Nationals game where we bombed Mackenzie Gore, when the Washington Nationals game, I can't remember what time of year it was, but we were in Washington. They just started playing their top prospect every day in left field. I forget what their top prospect's name is, but he had just started playing every day in left field. You got Mackenzie Gore on the mound, and we are disciplined and make Mackenzie Gore throw strikes, and then we bomb him, right? And then we bomb him, and then you go to the bullpen and you mess around and you have to win the game 8-5. James Wood, that's his name. That's his name. James Wood, that's his name. He was the guy. He misplayed a line drive in that game. Like it was hit like direct. It was like hit right at him, and he misplayed it. And the ball went to the fence, and I think we scored a run or two off that, and it kept the inning going or whatever it was. Right. But when you score runs against a great pitcher, you would at least think get it to the bullpen and we can all nap. You got a big lead, get it to the bullpen and we can drink some beer. Nah. Like, what are we doing? Like I don't get it. I don't understand it, right? Um so guys, so everybody, one other thing just really quick. One other thing that really quick is it bothers me and I want to get y'all opinion on it. And that is the Mets didn't re-sign Antoine Richardson, the first base coach. We didn't re-sign Antoine Richardson at first base. Right? We didn't re-sign Antoine Richardson. Now, on the surface, it's like, just put a fat X player over there and everybody can do the same thing. Right? But Antoine Richardson got our guys to run and steal bases. Like, I don't know if y'all remember this in season or not, but the Mets stole like 30 straight bases. The Mets, I don't know if the number is 30. It seems like 30, man. It might be 50. It might be 20. I don't know. But I knew when a guy got to first base with Antoine Richardson over there, he was gonna get our guy to second base. Right? Antoine Richardson, if a guy walked, singled, error, however they got on to first base, that player at first base was a threat to steal second and sometimes third. Sometimes third. Now, I'm going to juggle the conversation a little bit for the sake of context, but I'm not gonna scramble the eggs after the omelet, right? I'm not gonna promise you an omelet and then give you scrambled eggs, right? The thing is, with the young coach, the coach in AAA coming and being promoted is one thing that helps. But I think the combination of the AAA hitting coach and Antoine Richardson on first would have unlocked this thing that the Mets have been missing for years, right? And that is getting away from power-only baseball, right? Small ball. When you have a guy like Pete, when you have a guy like Soto, when you have a guy like Lindor, right? You have to have ducks on the pond to feel the full effect of your sluggers. You have to have, in order for Pete Alonso to have 150 RBIs, you got to at least have 100 people on base for him. Because you know the other 50 is going to be himself because he's going to hit 50 home runs, right? You know that. And in order for Soto to have 140 RBIs, you got to give him at least 100 plus chances or so with guys on base. Because you know 40 of those are going to be home runs. Especially with a power guy in a leadoff spot, right? A power guy in a leadoff spot, Lindor, is a power guy. He doesn't look like a power guy, but he can get that ball out of here. Right? He's a line drive home run hitter, right? But in order for Lindor to drive in runs, your 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th guys have to be on base. Now, of course, not all at the same time, but y'all understand what I'm getting at. In order for our lineup to turn over, in order for our lineup to constantly turn over, you have to have guys on base. Right? You have to have guys on base. That's one of the things that I think hurt us. Like Brandon Nimmo being hampered all season with the foot injury hurt us. Like Brandon Nimmo is a guy that can run but doesn't steal bases. And then on top of that, he had a foot injury. So what do? You know, an older guy that can run, probably lost a step, doesn't steal bases, and now he's got a foot injury. You have to trade him because he doesn't have value anymore. Brandon Nimmo used to be that guy that while he didn't steal bases, if you hit a ball in the gap, he could score. But with the foot injury and losing a step, getting older, what is Brandon Nimmo's value to you now? He's not a leadoff hitter anymore. David Smith, read my mind, man. Yo, all I'm gonna say is this. I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna bring up one more point before we wrap up, but I'll say this: in a lineup that would have had Soto, Pete. Now think about this. Think about this in terms of the lineup, right? Think about this in terms of the lineup itself, not the production. Think about it if you're a pitcher and you face Lindor from the left or right, depending on he's a switch hitter. Soto from the left, Pete from the right, Soto from the left, Mark Vientos from the right, Alvarez from the right. When do you get a power break? Right? Think about all that 30 home run potential in that lineup. Right? Lindor, 30 home runs. Soto, 30 home runs. Pete, 30 home runs. Schwarber, 30 home runs. Vientos. Anybody in the chat that doesn't think Vientos has 30 home run potential? Alvarez, 30 home run potential? Cody Bellinger. One could only, if we could get Cody Bellinger on a 4-year deal, bro. Cody, just take the money, bro. Cody, take the money. Cody, take the money, bro. Cody, we'll offer you we're offered Cody 4 years, 145. Because we can't offer him 40. That's ridiculous for Cody Bellinger. The guy from Locked On Mets, I forget his name, he basically said Cody Bellinger is Brandon Nimmo from the plate, but way better defensively. Wow, 4 for 90? Four for 90? Hey man, if he take it, bro, I'm excited. I'm excited. Hey, David Smith, real quick before I get to the Mendoza question for y'all. I think Vientos and Alvarez both suffered from the hitting coach being whack. I think the hitting coaches were trash. I think both of them hit better in AAA, not because of AAA pitching, but because of the AAA batting coach. So my final question for y'all. Hey, Jay the Chosen One, just real quick. I'm going to just say this to Jay the Chosen One, right? Bro, I legitimately try to keep these things to 30 minutes. JJ, I'm trying to keep these things to 30 minutes. Look where we are, bro. David Smith, I'm trying to keep these things to 30 minutes, right? We got too much to, bro. There's too much Mets stuff out here in Mets universe for us to keep these things to 30 minutes. I'm trying, though. I'm trying, right? I think the batting coaches messed up Vientos and Alvarez. Right. And plus the thing too is we need this place where everyone's voice needs to be heard, man. We need a place where Mets fans can legitimately have their voices heard, right? But we're new here, so we'll get there, right? My thing, everybody, is the question I've been wanting to ask other Mets fans is Carlos Mendoza the right guy for the job? Is Carlos Mendoza the right guy for the job? I don't know. I need y'all answer. I don't have one. I don't have an answer. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know. And I hope y'all don't judge me on that, right? Because I'm a Mets fan. Listen, man, I love the Mets. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to keep saying that because I'm doing a Mets channel and y'all here rocking and y'all love the Mets too. Right? Y'all love the Mets also. But what I can't figure out is Mendoza the guy? Clearly, Buck Showalter was not the guy. Buck was the guy to get you. Buck was a bridge manager. Buck Showalter is the Gershon Yabusele, right? He's a bridge to someone else, right? But Mendoza, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't know. On that, I guess we can end it right here. So we won't go too long into it. Thank you everybody for coming in through and rocking the spots, man. The New York Mets Lounge is a place where we're gonna come and hang out, talk post game, pre game, moves, all that stuff. We're just gonna have a place where we can chill and interact with each other. Thank y'all for coming through and supporting. I don't know when the next time we'll be able to rock because it's new. This whole thing is new to me. So I'm going to try to formulate a schedule. And once we get a schedule, we'll put one in place. But for now, every time I get a chance, I'm just going to come through and hope you guys come back and rock with us. So we'll see y'all later, man. Peace, everybody. Happy New Year.